Hi, this is Patsy with a Z. Welcome to Joy on Paper Live, a program for writers and those who dream of writing, and everyone who wants to know the story behind the book. And my guest today is Nicky Drayden, and I am so happy to welcome her back to Joy on Paper Live because she's been here before. Hi, Nicky.
Hi, Patsy.
Oh, it's so good to see you again. And wow, I've loved your book since the first time I read your little short story. A whole bunch of them. How many of those little short story books do you have?
Oh, probably close to a dozen, I would say.
Yeah, I think I have
Yep.
most of them, and they are just delightful. People ask me, how should I start writing? And I so often tell them, just write a short story. When you finish it, you'll feel so good. You'll experience that joy on paper, right?
Exactly. It's like an instant satisfaction because like you sit down, you type this, you have this idea and you like bring it into the world and then you have something you can share with people. You can seek to get it published, join a writing group and get it edited. There's so many options once you have something on actual paper and not like sitting in your mind anymore.
I was just going around in Amazon looking for short stories, and then I saw yours.
They're called Delightfully Twisted Tales. And so there's a funny story behind the name. Back when I was writing a lot of short stories, I would submit them to different magazines and that sort of thing. A lot of times you get rejected, and it's just always a little bit of a kick. But one time I got a rejection letter, and the rejection letter said, "We're not going to accept this, but it's delightfully twisted." And I was like, and so that was the inspiration for the series of short stories that I've put out.
They are delightfully twisted. I love them. Hilarious. Some of them I have laughed out loud so hard that my jaw has hurt. They're just delightful. And you went from there, you went a little bit more big time. So tell us a little bit about that.
I started writing novels with National Novel Writing Month, and it happens every year in November. And I just saw something on the local news about it. And I was like, that sounds really cool. It's a cool competition, a competition with your own self and not against other people. The goal was to write 50,000 words in the month of November, which is a shorter novel. So it's doable, but it's also a lot. And so I was able to write my first novel right off the bat. And so I got used to being able to produce very quickly and like a newfound superpower almost, and get these stories I just never knew were in me just to get them out on the paper. And so I always encourage people, no matter what their age, to like try writing a novel, try writing a short story or a novella, or just see what you have in there.
Then tell us about getting an agent because everybody always wants to know you got one of the best.
Yes, I everybody thinks you have to know somebody or be in the in cool crowd group to get an agent, but really you just need to work on your craft first. You need to what I did was I went to a lot of different writing groups and got my writing to the level I wanted it to be. And once I thought it was there, I started just writing email queries to different agents and um sometimes you want to shoot for the stars. And so like I had my A group and my B group and my C group, and in my A group was Jennifer Jackson, the Donald Moss agency. And I shot and it landed. She wanted to see, you send them a query and it's just a little paragraph about your book and then maybe 3 or 4 pages of the manuscript. She read those and liked those, and then so she sent an email back, can I see the first like 30 pages of this? And so I sent that back, and then some months went by. It was a little bit of a long process. So also have patience because like it doesn't happen overnight either. And so then she asked for the full manuscript. I'm like, okay, like this is as far as I've gotten. And then another few months went by, and then she offered representation, and I was like over the moon. Like not only to have an agent, but to have her, who's one of the hardest hitting agents out there. It's just really amazing.
Pray of the Gods. I remember when that came out, and I was so excited for you. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I wrote 6 books in 5 years. So it was a lot. Like once you are there, you have to maintain momentum. In the beginning, I would say you have to be open to the things that come to you. So like in the first couple of years, I was like, say yes to everything and try it out. Say yes to doing a panel at your local convention or something, or to doing an interview, even though it was very scary to like all of a sudden have to be like standing in front of people and saying things. I was very shy. And so I said yes to a lot of things. And then I figured out the things that I like to do and the things I didn't like to do. Then I think after about 2 years, you have to learn how to say no to things. People would invite me to this place and I'd be like, no, I'm not interested, sorry, or offer them someone else who might be interested. But yeah, it gets to be managing a business very quickly. I don't think people prepare you for the business administration side of writing, which can be a significant amount of time doing marketing stuff and publicity stuff and doing appearances and book signings and all sorts of things, which are fun and you get to meet great readers, but it's also taken away time from the actual like writing and creative process.
By the time you did Temper, you were prepared. You sent out publicity kits, you sent out all sorts of things that went along with it. And that's part of this whole process of learning how to market your books.
It's, I think, bringing in all your skills, figure out like everyone has a different skill set. I like making like swag, as they say, for the books. And so I would get cards printed up with the book cover and some of the character art on there and just do different like promotional items like bookmarks or postcards or armbands or any kind of like little thing people really like to grab onto that has the title of your book on it. So you can stay, or pens, like, because everybody's always needs a pen. Yeah, when launch week is going, it's like something I can do that's like kind of calming, because packing up, envelopes to send to people is just like a repetitive task that can get me away from like the anxiety of like book launch week. Yeah.
Now, your most recent book is Deep Austin, The Case of the Weird Carnivorous Sky, which came out just at the right time because that's when we had an eclipse here.
It is. Yeah, in Austin, we got the wonderful experience of seeing the total solar eclipse. It was my first time seeing a solar eclipse. And my friend and wonderful co-writer, Matthew Bay, this was way back, probably in 2019. We knew the eclipse was coming. This is how geeky we are about the eclipse. So we knew the eclipse was coming like 4 years before it was coming. We decided to write a book about it. And it's a novella, and it takes place in Austin during the eclipse, and the eclipse happens except for the sun doesn't come back. My character, who is Sarah, she's a single parent and taking care of a tween, and his character is Nook, who's a pedicab driver that lives in the Austin Co-op. And they seem to be like the only two people who are really interested in trying to figure out why the sun didn't come back. It's a mystery whodunit adventure, chasing down all the weirdness that is bubbling up. The slogan for Austin is "Keep Austin Weird." And so Austin gets really weird after the sun doesn't come back. So there's all kinds of creatures that come up from the deep Austin, and ghosts, and lots of weird things that my character and his character have to deal with. And my character also, since she's a parent, she's like having to parent and also try to save the world, which is nice to see like older protagonists in books.
I enjoyed it so much, and it all comes together so nicely.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We're working on the sequel actually right now, which is called, it's a series, it's supposed to be a series. So it's Deep Austin, Case of the Half-Murdered Grackle King. And I don't know, if you've been to Austin, you know about the grackles. They're the black crow-like birds that kind of hang out in the grocery store parking lots. And they just crow and crow all day. And so there's a grackle king in this book who is a very mysterious man who is a musician also, and has just this kind of vexing like appearance. And he's giving a concert in a ghost club, like one of the music clubs. So there's like a ghost music scene, and he gets half murdered.
Half murdered.
Just half murdered.
And
so so he has two, like a kind of a human form and then a grackle form. And so the human form of him gets murdered, but the grackle form of him still exists. But is very injured. And so they're trying to track down who done it, who had the motive to want to get rid of the Grackle King, who may have some nefarious issues of his own, but definitely is also a victim in this story. And so we have ghosts. We have the mall, Barton Creek Mall. I don't know if you've been there, but it's one of the malls here. So there's like a lot of like Austin local spots that you'll recognize that are fun and being inhabited by creatures that are a little bit unworldly.
I'm a little new to Austin, so I haven't even seen the pedicabs yet, but okay.
Oh yeah, you should have a pedicab ride. Just head downtown and like you can find one pretty quickly.
Very clever of you to come out with an idea for a novella, because novellas are popular now.
Yeah, they are getting more popular. We've actually sold the audio rights to both of those books, and so they should be coming out sooner or later for those who want to give it a listen. And yeah, I think it's fun to be able to explore a lot of Austin's history as well, because we like to pack a lot of history into the book. So you're getting a little bit of an education while you're like having this Scooby-Doo mystery going on.
Tell us a little bit about Matthew.
Matthew has been a writer friend of mine and like a big advocate of my work for a very long time. I've known him probably close to 20 years. We were in a writer's workshop together, two writers' workshops together, or writing groups together. He started we have an Austin zine, Space Squid. He was one of the co-creators of that. It's just a funky little Austin zine that's still going. It's a place to go for like little sci-fi short stories that are very similar to my short story. I've had a short story in there. If you like my flavor of short stories, you would definitely like Space Squid. They've been printing probably close to 20 years as well, at least, as far as I know. And I knew about them before even like I met them, because I'd see the zines around. And yeah, it's just, he's a really cool guy, very into eclipses also.
A perfect match.
He's seen two of them, yeah.
You are involved in writers groups and getting together with other authors.
Yeah, you have to grow. I remember my first time I had to read like some of my work in public. I literally had somebody else read it for me because I was just too petrified to do it myself. And so it's understandable to be afraid, but like sometimes the scary things are worth doing anyway. So do it, be afraid, but do it anyway. On top of your writing getting better, you also learn to accept feedback, which is a very important skill. Like as important as writing is being able to know how to edit your own work and how to filter other people's opinions, because you'll get back 5 or 6 critiques and they might be saying all different things and you might not agree with them, and you don't have to agree with them. Just take what's useful to you and what resonates with your vision and use that. Don't try to feel like you're trying to write to everyone's satisfaction. Find the heart of the story, what you're trying to say, find the critique that resonates with you and go with that.
Exactly. Real publisher, they're going to have an editor and you have to take it, and sometimes you agree with it, sometimes you might not, but that's their job, and they want you to write the best book possible.
And I think that what you learn from getting critiques from the workshop or writers groups is like how to also advocate for yourself when like you don't want to change something. But you have to, like, you can't be like, I don't want to change anything, because then the editor's not going to want to work with you. But you have to know like what you're willing to let go, what actually adds value, and then what, like, where's your line? This is like going to stay because this is really important to the book. Yeah, it's all a learning process.
I know that you had some specific ideas that you wanted to share today about insights into writing.
Yeah, for me right now, I'm starting to come out of a creative burnout because when I wrote 6 books in 5 years, and it's just been overall, it's just been a hard time for a lot of people. My productivity like dwindled a lot. And so it took me and Matthew pretty much 4 years to write a novella, which is a little over 40,000 words. And that's between us, because I learned to write 20,000 words. The old me would be able to write that in a couple of weeks. And so I think one of the things is, if you're going through some burnout, to give yourself a lot of grace and don't try to compare like what you can do now to what you used to be able to do. to also just find ways to have fun with it. It doesn't have to be so serious all the time. Like writing with Matthew is always like a hoot because it's like the game of improv. Like, yes, and our ideas just keep getting like increasingly just ridiculous. And so there's just a lot of joy in just like working with him and having a space to um, write without a deadline and just write for myself. So that's been really helpful. I've also gotten into other creative avenues that aren't directly writing related, but we're still telling kind of a story and learning how to tell story in a different media. So I have a card game actually that I created last year. Right now, we're doing a Kickstarter to raise the funds that we need to make this game come into the world. It's called Prosper with Dragons. It's an Afro-futuristic, cooperative, post-apocalyptic card game. And so I am really excited about it. The goal of the game is to befriend dragons as a team and you befriend a dragon by gathering resources to attract them. There's different decks to choose from, but the decks also have disasters in them. What I like most about the game, it's like practice community building. So you share your resources to get through the disasters, share resources to attract these dragons to strengthen your community. It's a fun game. We've been playing it at different conventions around local conventions and meetups. And we commissioned a lot of art from different artists. And working on this project with a fellow author, Suyi Davies Ukumbawa, who wrote Son of the Storm, David Mogo God Hunter. And so we're just trying to tell a story through pictures, give people a way to immerse themselves in a world. A lot of my books are Afrofuturistic, so I love having an Afrofuturistic tale that's represented in a more graphical format and also like a playable format because you can actually interact with the cards and the game. And if you want to, you can bring your own story into it. I think it hopefully will delight a lot of players and get a lot of people excited and learn how to share and build community.
I'm sure part of the inspiration for this game was your trip to Africa, where you learned so much.
I took this is back in the olden days. So when I was in college, I worked at the Texas Southern University School for Technology, and they had a summer program, and I was a peer counselor, and they studied renewable energy and environmental protection sort of things. And their like summer trip was to go to South Africa. And so like I got to go along for free, which is like the best job perk ever that I've ever had. So we got to see a lot of South Africa, meet the people. Everyone was so welcoming and excited to see us and get to have a little bit of a culture exchange. And like we showed them some of our like Harlem Shuffle dances and they showed us their dances and they were very interested in our pop culture. They liked you remember Dallas, that TV drama? Like they were like very into that. And so it was fun to talk to kids that were our age that lived on a different continent. And it was very influential and continues to be influential to like my writing and just being able to connect to somewhat of my roots and create these Afrofuturistic worlds that I really enjoy being in.
How many cards are there?
It's mostly a cooperative game where there's 72 cards. There's 12 dragon cards that you can see in the middle. And so those are the dragons that you want to befriend. And you befriend them by drawing resources from the 3 draw decks. And so there's a red leaf deck, a blue gear deck, and a black flame deck. And they are increasing values. And there's also increasingly devastating disasters in the decks. And the players have to work together to figure out what risks they're going to take and how they're going to help each other get through these disasters. It's fun. I really enjoyed working with the artists. Like I have a vision, but it's important for them to have a lot of autonomy. And so I try to like nudge here and there when I need to, but I just want to see like what they come up with, what creative things they are capable, what they're bringing from their experiences with Afrofuturism. And so I don't know. I've been very pleased because there's just so many great artists out there, and it's really important that we support them, especially right now with AI taking over a lot of like creative jobs and stuff. And so I really want to just have a human touch to a game that's supposed to touch our humanity. Yeah, it all comes together, a little bit of storytelling, a little bit of engaging people's creativity and imagination. It's just a little bit in a different format. And it's been really helpful to have this to work on because related to like writing, but it's different enough that I feel a renewed sense of creativity, just help filling my writing well. So then I'll hopefully start on some new stuff like in the summer. Yeah, and try to get back out there.
How did you get the idea to do a Kickstarter?
I was playing my favorite game, which is Splendor. I love the mechanics of that game. I love like the different strategies that you can have. And I love the artwork. And I just had this thought like, what if there was a game like this that had like great Afrofuturistic art? Once my mind like latches onto something, like it just locks down and won't let go. So I just started brainstorming like all these mechanisms that I thought would work together. And the game started coming together. And I was like, this is a fun game. I think other people might want to play this. But how do I, one, get the word out there? And two, how do I finance this thing? And so I was like, I could do crowdfunding and have everybody come together who's interested in playing this game. The way Kickstarter works, if you haven't crowdfunded before, it's an all or nothing. So like we have to get to our goal amount, which was $12,500. We have to get enough backers to support us. And so people just put in like their credit card information. They say pick what level of backing they want. If they want a card game, we have some other like more advanced options. If we make our goal at the end of this month, at the end of February, and then people's credit cards are charged, and then we get to making the art. If we need to commission any more art, we can do that. We put in the order for a bulk order for the game. They ship it back to us, and then we ship a copy of the game to everyone who supported us. And so it's just a really great mechanism for people to come together around different creative things that they want to see happen and make it happen without having to go through the whole process of professional publishing, which can take a long time. And I don't know, there's fewer gatekeepers and that sort of thing. So it's a way for people to directly support artists making cool stuff. And so that's why I decided to go with Kickstarter. So we're fundraising until the end of the month. So hopefully if you like games, if you like cooperative games, if you like Afrofuturistic art, if you like storytelling, any of those things, check us out. And we have how to play videos and stuff up on the Kickstarter site.
I have your Kickstarter site there.
You can do that link. You can also just go to Kickstarter and type Prosper with Dragons into the search and it'll pop up that way. And I don't know, it's been fun. It reminds me of NaNoWriMo a lot, actually, because it's like for a month, you're just like putting up posts on social media. You're like filming little video thing, like little TikTok kind of videos and like doing all these like promotional things nonstop. So it's very related.
Nicky, I think you have such spirit. And as I said, the first time I read one of your short stories, I knew that you were special. I knew that good things would happen to you. And you've certainly come a long way. And when I look back, I remember when The Prey of Gods, we were really hoping for a movie deal for that book. Yeah. And I still have hope for that one because it's just made for film. But this time around, I've had authors who wrote books years and years ago, 10 years, and suddenly they get picked up.
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot from some older books like that have been being made.
Yeah. You never know when something will hit because both of them, Temper also would make a great film, right?
Thank you. Yeah, I think so.
When will the next novella be coming out?
Hopefully in the next few months, maybe we'll have something out.
So you'll be back for that. But meanwhile, good luck with the Kickstarter project. I think it's wonderful. We need community. We need people working together, getting off of their devices, just sitting around a table, sitting on the carpet and just playing and talking and just people need people. Thank you so much for joining me again today. And it's Nicky Drayden. And you also have a nice website. It's nickydrayden.com. People can go to Kickstarter and check out Prosper with Dragons. So, again, thank you so much for joining me today, Nikki.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Okay. Bye bye now. Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for joining me today. It was so much fun to talk to Nicky Drayden about her books and about her success as an author, and also about her wonderful new card game. I don't know anything about card games, but if you like card games and if you're interested in helping illustrators and authors, please check out her Kickstarter page. Please click subscribe button, then comment and share. Thank you very much.